Hi, this is Guy with Cowanhead. Did you hear that they're getting rid of segways? Well, let's not talk about that. First off, I'd like to apologize for the previous video being rushed and rambling too much and then being too strange, not knowing some of the names and whatever. Also, I'm gonna try publishing or scheduling this update for the first time since I know I'll be busy the week of Thanksgiving and there's no way I'm ever gonna be able to update my Survivor blog on a Friday, probably for the rest of this year, which means good news. I can finish this series. Yeah. Also, let me know if you think I should review the TV show Dollhouse. I do have both seasons of that on DVD. I do plan to post any videos of that on Fridays. I would have already written and prepared for that right now, only I'm doing these videos on Friday still, despite having finished watching Moonlight a while ago. Yeah, not sure when scheduled posts come on Friday. Also sorry that the last video came on a Saturday and not a Friday. I swear I started updating it on Friday, but then it took that long for it to be published. Now, for the episode. This Moonlight episode is episode 15, called What's Left Behind. Basically, it starts with a kid named Jacob, and he gets kidnapped, and Mick has a special interest in this case because it's possible Jacob is family. And here's basically the explanation. Mick, as revealed in previous episodes, I don't know if I've reviewed them before, was in a war. And at one point, he was with this army buddy named Ray. And Ray was thought to have died in the war, so Mick goes back home and comforts his wife, and presumably they have sex at least once, but it's revealed that Ray survived and comes back, accepts with is with his wife now, and then Mick just makes himself scarce and feels bad that he betrayed Ray. Basically, it's found out that Ray had a son named Robert, and Robert is the father of the kid that went missing, namely Jacob. And Mick is suspicious of this, that he is in fact Robert's father, and thus Jacob's grandfather, but of course he can't actually say anything about it because he's a vampire, and the age difference would make it bad. So he does get a DNA test, and since becoming a vampire changes one's human DNA to other DNA, he went back and got his human DNA, which he was somehow able to find. To resolve that plot point, it was it was not a match to Mick, meaning that Mick did not father Robert. And he said, "This is good, this is the way it's supposed to be." Joseph even talks some about how he would have liked to have kids, but you can't because vampires can't have kids. Or at least not in the Moonlight canon as far as we know. Maybe other vampires can have kids. Like I know in Twilight that happened, but I don't know much about Twilight. I've seen like a lot of the first movie. I've read none of the books or seen any of the other movies. And many people think Twilight sucks. I mean, vampires sparkle. That's the terrible thing. You don't just burn in daylight. And of course, another lame thing is just having a ring on your finger. And it's like, oh, well, that cures everything as long as the ring that you wear protects you from sunlight. Of course, what would also be dumb is if you can't enter a building occupied by a human unless you're invited in. Ah, I should be throwing shade, shouldn't I? I guess I didn't realize I was going on this spiel. Anyways, well, I can throw shade without sipping drinks or having a lampshade that I could actually throw. Also, what is lampshading? Because I hear the term, but I don't know what it means. Yeah, sorry. Shouldn't be silent with dead air. Anyways, back to the kidnapping. Jacob is missing. They need to find him. And Mick is able to deduce that it was a human who came in, and his name was Kent. And I forget if there was a Kent previously that I might have said was in a different episode by mistake or something weird also, I think this was the episode where Joseph and Mick talked about the now father-son connection they have, because Joseph is sort of a stepsire to Mick since they returned him, and Mick even refers to Joseph as dad, and he doesn't really like it. Basically, Kent was a contractor at the house, and basically he was there to obviously help with remodels, but then he knew about secret ways in and out of the house, and that's why Jacob had his toys lined up in defense and he could hear voices, and that's how Kent was able to sneak into the room and abduct Jacob. And basically, through different means, and I forget why this is, Mick gave the police the wrong address, perhaps intentionally, or maybe by mistake. Through different means, Mick is able to find Jacob. He could hear the heartbeat and burst through a door. Kent is supposedly trying to help Jacob, has some demented fears about, or not fears, but ideas about he needs to learn not to be afraid of the dark or whatever. And Kent does end up killing himself, but Jacob is found and rescued. And Jacob even notices a picture of Mick with the army buddies of Ray at the current age, which leads to a bit of confusion / distrust with Robert. Or I don't know much other that he wants to maybe talk to Mick some about the oddity. He runs out, but then Mick is already gone. So Jacob is found. We don't get much from Kent's motivations. All we know is that he's a psychopath. And it's hard to even make sense of them. You don't really need to know what they are or what they do. Just they try to think that they're doing stuff. Of course, some people could be actually worse and actually real, because we hear about some of what happens to some people who are kidnapped. At least Jacob in this episode doesn't suffer any sexual trauma that we know of, at least. I don't think the show would ever go that dark. There are other important plots to this or points to this episode, so I will have to check the notes again just to see what else there is. Also, the guy I refer to as Tablet, his actual name is Ben. So I guess I was referring to him by his last name. It's always so annoying to at least me when people are referred to that. Like if I were on Survivor, I would make Jeff Probst call me by my first name if he doesn't already do that. I don't like being called by my last name so much. If someone does that, refers to me by just my last name without a Mr. in front of it, I will blatantly ignore them. Just not even react, just ignore them. And that's why I haven't even said what my last name is in this channel. Call me Adam. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I might be the only person who's annoyed by it, but I don't know why people do it. Or why even more people actually like this or prefer this. I despise it. So call me Adam. Anyways, Ben thinks that Beth should become like a civilian, like police officer or something, and that she would get paid for it. And she is looking for a job after all, since leaving Buzzwire. And basically, we're led to believe that Ben is investigating Mick in some way due to suspicious behavior. Those paranormal creatures and beings, the witches, the vampires, presumably werewolves or whatever, they're always being investigated by someone, and it's never what you'd think, because in reality it wouldn't be someone with supernatural powers, since they wouldn't actually exist. Like, I don't think witches could actually do potions that do transformation or whatever. Although curses might be real, but to what extent? I'm not sure. The one last odd thing of the episode was Mick talking to a vampire named Leo, who's said to sort of prey on children, and Leo is a suspect briefly, but then he's only in one scene, and he serves no real purpose, so maybe they were planning to use him more in future seasons and never happened, but we don't get to know much. Leo's just there, and then he's irrelevant again. They probably could have cut that scene, and the episode would have gone on normally, like you think it would have. And I do believe that's it. I've covered all the important plot details, and there is one episode left. So I'll get to that as soon as I am able. And you should be done with the Moonlight reviews before the year is over, and maybe I'll start posting some videos on Saturdays here and there. I do have a planned series for later, so I'll find out more about that in the future. What could be on Saturdays, I wonder? And what content should I produce? I guess we'll have to wait and see. For now, this is Guy with Cowan Head signing off. Get it? It's a sign language joke. Bye.